from the upper bracket, from that winner's bracket. Str8 Rippin, they came from the elimination bracket, so Str8 Rippin going to have to win this best of 7 and then another best of 7 if they want to win. Meanwhile, Era, they just have to take 4 of these first 7 games.
Yeah, like I said, Str8 Rippin definitely has their work cut out for them. It's always a comforting feeling knowing that you are in the having won the winners bracket and have that extra room for error where it's like, all right, if you do drop that first series, everything's still going to be okay. You have another chance at winning the event. However, at the same time, too, you never want to force it to that second best of 7.
No, it's no fun having your back against the wall that way. But again, this is what it's all about. It's all about facing that adversity. And we've seen, Str8 Rippin go through it last week where they were almost in that same scenario where they lost, I believe, a 4-1 series or something in similar fashion. And then they came back, bounced back from that series, and then win to go and make sure that they secure themselves Legendary Cup number 3. But now facing themselves are facing themselves with a very awkward spot now coming from that elimination bracket. They've seemed to fare pretty well going up against Czech 6. They were coming out fairly slow against Rock Block before that, RB, and that was when things started to look a little bit scary. But ever since then, they've kind of turned it around here. They've picked up some momentum, and I'm curious to see, is Era riding high still from their previous series and their previous win against Czech 6? Or is kind of what we expect to happen is you slow down just a beat or two, and that team from the elimination bracket is still warmed up.
Yeah, it's been a long, long break there for Era, like you talked about before. I mean, we started that first match. I mean, it was about 3 or so hours ago, 3 to 4 hours ago since they've started their last match. So I'm not sure if they've been scrimming throughout this whole entire time or not, but clearly Str8 Rippin has, because they've been in every single match except for that winners bracket finals.
And they played, I believe, Czech 6 in the same very game type. CTF Truth was game number 4, which did go in their favor, and it seemed to be a very solid game type for them. So definitely watching out in game number 1 for that to go into their favor. But, our predictions have been kind of crazy and kind of all over the place, and rightfully so. Like you said, Era, you can look at the scrim scores, you can look at, previous matches, you can look at this team on paper and say, yeah, this is a top 3 team in the legendary bracket. Do you expect them to be the team coming out and winning the final cup? Probably not when you go and you say, hey, probably going to be Czech 6 or Str8 Rippin, but Era has a great opportunity to go and gain the most legendary cup in terms of momentum going into DreamHack Denver and also monetarily because of the amount of money that they would win.
Yeah, there's a lot right on the line. $5,000 cup today for these squads. I believe first place walking away at $2,000.
So 250 difference each coming up for these players.
Right? Yeah, significant difference for this series right here. Who is your player to watch? Because right now I'm looking at commonly from the Str8 Rippin squad. He's been showing up all these other series, dropping some of the biggest numbers I've seen. If he keeps that up, I think that's going to be key to Str8 success. What about from the Era side?
Honestly, I'm looking at Kratos because I was looking at the stats from the previous series when Str8 Rippin lost 3-1, and a stat that I found pretty astonishing was, and big shout out to Halo Data High for always providing this great information, was I was sifting through, and I found, I think it was a 1 versus 1 stat that Kratos had over Ace, where I think it was somewhere ridiculous, like 20-8 throughout the entire series. Oh my God, yeah. And Ace was positive in KD against every other member on this Era squad. So I'm kind of looking for maybe Kratos picking off Ace when he's no shields, or maybe 1v1s or whatever.
Our 2 plays to watch right now for me right now is Kratos and Commonly.
Well, and you know what's really interesting, Dave, is that Kratos, he's been someone to push car side for quite some time. Denoxide's usually the guy that pushes car side, but look at Commonly staying alive throughout all of that. 3 members were focusing him down right there, and what a weird flag run coming in from Str8 Rippin. They're going to try to run this one over down towards where the members of Era were alive, and great shots right there from both players. Kratos is going to get dropped, but he did at least take out the flag guy. Not going to matter though, Str8 Rippin 40 seconds in, pulling a crazy flag and putting it in.
Yeah, despite an odd route, like in most cases when you're already pushing towards Carbine side, you might as well go bottom Carbine where you have less opportunities to be shot from different angles. One of the reasons you probably don't run it at the very spot of bomb car is if an enemy is there and you're concerned about them getting on top of that and getting the recovery, but somehow that flag run worked out for Str8 Rippin, but we might be seeing a counter cap right now because there's 3 members of Str8 Rippin down, and that flag's halfway across the map.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a counter cap for sure. The thing for Str8 Rippin is they need to make sure that they don't give up this cap and another one after that. And maybe I spoke too soon because Ace is going big on the pink side of the map commonly.
I like this play so much.
Oh, but no, someone spawns underneath them. He does somehow get the trade. throughout all of that. 3 dead. Now Neptune, the last guy alive, a counter pull coming in for Str8 Rippin. Are you kidding me, Dave? I thought that was a for sure flag capture for Era, but I don't know if someone missed the flag, if the guy, got slayed out when he was running the flag. Something happened, and now Str8 Rippin on the verge of going up, and they are going up 2-0. Wow.
I was about to say, cue the Benny Hill music as we go watch these squads both run these flags back. So that's just a little crazy right there, as we just made an absolute assumption that that was a guaranteed Era flag cap, and somehow they must have gotten the most crucial kill. There must have been no one from Era that was ready to rally that flag all the way back and just spent all that time. And one of the keys to that success was that commonly flank under the base. Despite having an unfortunate spawn from a member from Era, he was in the perfect position to flank 2 guys on pink side.
Ace trying to give Musa the business, and he does. That was going to be 4 dead, and Ace, a little body disrespect right there onto Musa as well. Neptune finding the kill there onto Commonly. Straight sick, 1v1 against Ace. Ace going to give him the perfect shots. Another player underneath the base. You can see the player outlines right there. That's going to be Kratos. Kratos trying to stay alive, and he does, taking out Ace. Neptune, he's caught out at no shields. The last 2 members from Era are located on over towards the knock side, which is top of the base, and over towards the bubble, which he just fell. But pink side in control of Str8 Rippin. You can see the score in the favor of Str8 Rippin. One thing not in the favor, though, is the fact that they do have to win these 2 best-of-7s. But this is a good, solid start, getting up 2-0, and they're going to have to continue to play like this if they want to become champs in Legendary Cup 4.
Yeah, and on the flip side too, Era, they have games to give up. They can easily lose these first 4 games in this best-of-7 and still be on even ground when it comes to playing against Str8 Rippin here. However, you don't want to give up that advantage. You want to come out strong. Some of the best performances and best tournament victories are the ones where you come in through that grand finals and you just stop the other squad. You win 4-0, 4-1, and just close the book on that business.
I mean, I think it's safe to say throughout, and Dave, how many tournament wins do you have? I think you have around 30.
Like MLGs or which ones?
MLG.
MLG, 20 or 23, something like that?
Yeah, I think it's probably around twice, maybe 2.5 times more than I have. So significant amount more, considering that I think I've won top 5 individual or top 5 tournaments throughout all of Halo. So that would put you top 3 immediately, right?
What, as far as tournament wins?
Yeah, third.
Oh, for
definitely
sure.
top 3 winningest players of all time sitting next to me. And would you say that from the first game or the first series, as Str8 Rippin goes and puts that 3rd final flag cap in, great way to start, not to take anything away from that, but would you say that when you started your games and you got to that event and you played your first series, could you tell that you were going to win that event right from the mentality and the way that everyone kind of played your very first series? Or was it like their first series against a really good team?
It was more so first series against good teams for us. The only time I've ever not felt that way was, I would say, Vegas 07, where our very first series against top 8 team, we were calling out. We were playing as if we were in the finals. We didn't take any team lightly at Vegas 07, and that was the first tournament I think I've ever gone to that we didn't drop a game.
That's huge. That's huge. So definitely, obviously, Halo very big on the mental game, and Str8 Rippin coming out really strong here, and that goes to show, again, good adversity coming out in these Legendary Cups, where you come up and you're faced with all of these scenarios that are going to come up in the actual tournament, right? Where, if you are playing and you're in the winner's bracket all the way to the grand finals, well, heck, you've done a great job. But only one team from Denver is going to be able to do that. All the rest of the teams are going to have to fight from the loser's bracket. So, again, Era's in a great position right now where they have to, win this one best-of-7. But then Str8 Rippin 2 is in a pretty good spot where this is a good test for them to go and see, can they go and do this? Where they lived up to the test last time, where they responded after they lost that first best-of-7 series, then won the second one. Here, they're going to have to try to win 2 in a row, which is so difficult to do, and very rarely is it ever done.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of one time I've come out flat in tournament. I want to say it was like New York or Meadowlands, like 06 or something like that. Maybe it wasn't New York. It was one of the regional events, one of the last few where Carbon had taken us 3 tournaments in a row. And I remember we had won the winners bracket finals. We did a great job against. I think we maybe even played Carbon earlier, but long story short is we had to wait so long, and then finals finally came around, and we start losing this first series. And these were the extended best of 11s back then, so it wasn't like we had a reset period. It's like we're losing game after game after game. It's like, oh man, we don't have anything to kind of reset us, and we fell flat, and we deserved to lose that tournament.
Yeah, and that's the thing is the format wasn't lose 2 series. It was a continuation. Mm-hmm. So what would happen is, say, for example, in the continuation would have heavily favored Era in this situation because they would have been up 3-1 in the series, right? But now that they lose that first game, it's kind of like, oh, well, I almost rather have the best of 7 reset, because then what would have happened was it would have been, there used to be 11 game types, now there's 13, right? So it would have been first to 7, just like a scrim win, right? So what would happen is in a 3-1 scenario, then Str8 Rippin would have had to win 6, Era would have had to win 4. So now Str8 Rippin has to win 8 before they end up losing one series over.
Yeah, it works. It definitely works better for Era, and I'm not sure which format I like better or worse. I see positives and negatives to both.
Even.
Yeah, because like one thing I really liked about the old one was, if you play a team second time, like you're guaranteed just to play only the 11 game types. Like
that was the one
you're
thing
not going to
like.
play repeats. You can't be like, oh man, they got true CTF 3 times in the times we played them or something like that. It's like, no, you played every game type once, and that is a great indicator and barometer of who is the better team and better players.
Right. All right, guys, here we go. Grand Finals, Slayer Regret, Str8 Rippin up in this series 1-0. Era trying to respond. Can they get this initial overshield to start? That's where the big focus is going to be. Denoxide, we're going to kick this one off with him as he throws a couple of grenades. Has 2 players on his player outlines over towards the left. It's going to be Str8 there with the first strike.
What a flank.
Picking up the double kill, looking for the triple kill, not able to connect.
How many times have we seen Kratos do that over these last couple weeks? Like last weekend at the Legendary Cup, we saw a good 2 or 3 times from the times we were on his POV where he was able to grab that overshield and live in scenarios where we thought he would be picked off. Right there, once again, 2 of his teammates fall, but he still gets away with that overshield. So great job by Kratos, knowing when to move in for that power-up.
That's for sure. Now let's see what Ace is going to be able to do here with the Carbine. He's going to drop Kratos, who eventually loses that overshield, and give that man a double kill. Ridiculous way here to control this Carbine side of the map for Ace. Baby J has the help coming in. Str8 Sick, he drops commonly, but it looks like he has more reinforcements coming in over towards the other side. It's going to be Kratos flying in with the cleanup. 6-5 here to start. And Era, after going down 3-1 and getting the overshield, not having control, I think that they'll take this trade, but they're going to have to clear out Carside here fairly soon.
Yeah, and despite having that great of a start from Str8 Rippin, I mean, it's an even game right now. I would even argue that Era is probably equal positioning as far as having people up across top center and top car 3. So I'm not sure how that really happened for Str8, because I felt like they got off to a really good start. Like that flank from Denoxide was near perfect, as you saw 3 players of Era fall at the beginning of the match.
Str8 Sick's going to fall to Baby J, but he gets the shots off as well. Excuse me, he falls to Denoxide, but he gets the shots off onto Baby J. Tied up here, overshield was picked up by Kratos last time, so you know both teams are going to have it, especially Era should have that exact time as Baby J finds another kill, this time onto Neptune. Battle rifle shots coming in. Looks like a pretty easy kill there for Commonly, and he finds it. Commonly also going to sit back here and choke some spawns temporarily, but now he realizes that he's done his job, so he's going to rotate back on over towards the pink side. Check on if anyone's pushing on over towards the street. Nobody quite there, so it should be a pretty free plasma caster unless a miraculous grenade flies across the map.
The other interesting part about Commonly's route right there is since he's such a flanker himself, he realized, all right, they had them trapped over at that other side base, and instead he just decides to first check pink 1 in case someone's flanking through, in case someone went down low like he possibly would have in that situation.
But they give up that overshield, and that's going to go back on over to Kratos again. So good damage coming in there from Commonly, but not nearly as much as I was anticipating. You could see Kratos still with a handful of his overshield left. Here comes the flank in from Commonly now.
Wow.
Now would have been the time to go and use that gun, and he realizes that that's going to be 2 kills going on over to Str8. It's going to be Str8 Sick dropping as well. 3 kills for 2 going on over to Str8. Last guy alive down towards bottom center, and Commonly going to find that last and final kill. A couple of plasma caster shots going on over towards there just in case there's spawners, and Commonly got to get a little bit more momentum before you go and do that thrust slide jump, but either way, still alive somehow throughout all of this, and Neptune not aware of this either, and a little worried by watching that play right there. Commonly should have been called out to the rest of his teammates, and the fact that you see some player pushing up the street, not responding, not getting any damage down is a little bit concerning for the communication for Era.
Yeah, you're wondering if it's someone not communicating properly or concisely, or whether their comms are flooded, or possibly even someone just getting tunnel vision. Sometimes you can have comms just so many people on so many different things that at certain points you just kind of block it out like static noise when you don't have great calls. And what a great lift up from Kratos, but he gets perfectly 5'd by Commonly, our 2 players that we both think are the keys to victory.
Looks like the game froze for a second, but it didn't. It's just Musa standing still. No worries, guys. Your browser, you don't have to refresh it. It's all good. Everyone can breathe. It was just Moose slow playing it for a second.
Yeah, I actually thought, I was like, oh, man, we might have a reset here.
Restart.
And then I was actually watching the timer. I was like, wait, the plasma timer's still going down. We're still good.
Yeah.
Musa's just like, how often do you ever have a moment, like, outside of maybe having a sniper rifle where you really aren't moving an inch? Like, anytime I have, like, a pistol, like, aimed at some corner around the wall, like, I'm possibly moving a little bit or moving my cursor just a little bit.
Approach, man.
Yeah.
Just thinking, if I just stand here, no one's going to look at me. No one's going to see me. I'm virtually invisible. Finally, Str8 been able to get Era to burn the overshield, but Baby J, he's going to drop to Kratos, and Phenoxide going to find that Top Gun medal with the Plasma Caster. Could be a scary combo here for Era. Do you see that being charged up? But thanks to everyone that's watching in here. We did hit 2,000 viewers just now. I'm here. Make sure that you guys tweet out the stream, twitch.tv/Halo. You're currently watching it. This is the grand finals of the final Legendary Cup of the year. Legendary Cup number 4. Str8, Legendary Cup number 1 and 3 champions, taking on Era, who came from that upper bracket. Very, very formidable team, and proving it right now in this game with a nice little mini comeback here. 28-29, trying to find this kill on the Commonly. Ooh, Commonly.
A little sloppy.
A little sloppy from Str8, but nonetheless.
Carbine can be scary to use, though. In many cases, it's great, like, mid-range, but I would say, like, close range and long range is not the ideal weapon. Like, sure, it's okay if you're zoomed in and you're not getting shots back and you keep that permanently the entire time, but to expect to hit all those shots at such a close range, I think Str8 made the right choice and decided to opt over to pistol to finish off that fight.
Great teamwork there from Str8 to go and drop, I believe, Kratos, who was getting Baby J fairly weak down towards bottom car. A's going to find a kill on the Neptune. Not able to stay alive, though, because good team shot coming in from Musa and from Str8. Ooh, Musa almost gave Commonly the business, but falling just short. Baby J going to drop on a kill right there. Should be an easy kill, and he finds it right there onto Kratos. Nice little auto-stabilize to make his jump on over towards the bridge, but have to be careful here. The players dropping down. The melee going to push Neptune back and getting Baby J the kill. Musa going to respond off of the spawn. 38-33 here. Str8 in good position if they continue to trade kills, and that looks like what they're kind of set up to do.
Yeah, and this is the kind of start you want to have to this long best of 7, to this long possible reset series as well. So Str8 seem like they're already in this for the long haul. They clearly are not just going to lay over and let this Legendary Cup number 4 gather grass.
Not at all, but Overshield is popping up here, I believe, right about now. So whoever's going to be able to give that gets a huge advantage. Commonly picking that one up for Str8 as we're switching on over to him to see what he has in store. Neptune going to drop Ace, but it seems like Commonly is hot on the trail, as now he's going to make his way on up over towards the lift. Baby J cleaning up that kill, so Commonly not too worried on what's going on. 5 more kills here. Just playing it smart, checking his back, making sure he's not getting assassinated. All he has to do really is just try to trade a kill here and then maybe weaken another player for one of his teammates. But even better, finding that kill and keeping a majority of his overshield. It looks like the 48th, 49th, and 50th kill just kind of sitting inside of the red base right now for Str8 to clean up.
And Commonly having his auto aim back, because as you all know, when you have overshield, you're guaranteed to miss like the first pistol shot or two. It's just a guarantee.
That's true. Gotta always make sure that you get that just in case you do have a little windmill action. But it's a solid start, like you said, 50-37, winning 2 games in a row. This is kind of unexpected based on what we saw earlier when these guys faced off 3-1 in favor of Era. But when you go and look at the momentum that Str8's been able to build up and look at how they played the last 2 games and even their series against Czech 6 compared to how they started off against a team like Rockblock, it looks like 2 completely different rosters.
Yeah, absolutely 2 different rosters, and I'm wondering kind of what's going on through the comms right now for Era, because it'd be kind of funny right now if you looked at the stats. Kratos and Str8 both went 9, 6, and 12, whereas Neptune went 9, 6, and 13. So if I'm Kratos and Str8, I'd be like, I don't know what Neptune's doing, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
He needs to step it up.
Maybe drop Neptune. Look into it. No, we're just kidding, guys. We were talking about that earlier. If you guys are just joining us, that you know, of course, maybe not with these top 3 Legendary Cup teams, but especially down from maybe newly formed Legendary Cup teams, or even sitting around that 5th through 12th range, anywhere beyond that, is a lot of times teams and players are playing for stats, and that's never a recipe for success. And a lot of times players are going and using those stats to go and try to find better teammates, and are like, well, look, man, look how good I did against this team, and so-and-so didn't do very good. I would never.
I went +1.
Yeah.
I mean, our team, we lost, and I just camped
like,
in the
I
corner
don't know
the whole
what
time.
So-and-so's doing, but I went +1. So we'll see how the rest of the team changes and stuff pan out going into Denver. But one thing is for sure, Era, they're most likely 1,000% a lock. Str8 Rippin's 1,000% a lock. You have Czech 6, they're going to be a lock in. I'm looking forward to other teams that didn't pop up quite yet, like the Bocce Hawk, Rob the Turtle, Hunter JJX squad.
Yep, I think they're Doze right now.
That's
Yep.
Doze. So Doze is definitely another team to look out for. And then you're going to have the Gilkey squad as well. That is that's coming in hot. I don't know if these guys from RB are going to make it to the event or not, but the way that they were playing against Str8 left me to think that they
I
could
hope they
definitely
do.
push in for a top 16 performance. But I think the big key for these guys is breaking into the top 12. Break is great. Breaking into the top 8 would be even better. We saw it happen at Atlanta, and one of the teams that did it was actually this Era squad here, where I believe it was maybe somewhere along the lines of Baby J, commonly Kratos, and I can't remember who that fourth was.
Yeah, I'm not recalling right off the top of my head. No. I was about to say Suspector, but I know that was not the case. So, yeah, I'm not certain of who that roster was, but we are jumping into game number 3 here, though. Strongholds on the rig. This is quite unorthodox style of play, though, that we end up seeing from this Era squad. They seem to heavily push for that BR base more often than we see on many other rosters. So we still haven't fully figured out what the strategy is behind that, because it's been kind of well disputed that basement / nest are the stronger bases to hold, and you really don't have as much incentive to go to BR base because you don't get as good of spawns. You don't have the proximity next to 2 different strongholds.
There's nowhere to escape.
Yeah, there's really no great options, but Era has been making it work, so maybe there's just been a little bit of a shift in how the strategy works, because right now they are doing that exact trade that we talked about. They are giving up basement for BR base.
Yeah, and that's one of those trades that seemed to be kind of forced by Str8 Rippin. It wasn't necessarily a a choice. So you got to say in this instance that Str8 Rippin with this basement and nest setup has, you know, all the balls in their court virtually. You got Denoxide with the scatter shot. You have Baby J here with the railgun. Do you want to go and push on to BR base? Maybe, but at the same time, you could just hold this until the next camouflage. And that's what kind of makes it a sticky situation when you have this type of setup. You can just wait for the numbers and then find the numbers, push to your advantage, and make some plays after that, but you don't want to be caught in between.
Yeah,
you don't want to get spawned in from behind. I think those are the #1 keys in Rig Stronghold.
Yeah, one thing I think you brought up a good point for was, do you push for that trip cap? And I think, in my opinion, unless you already have a dominating control of the map and like just got like a few kills, I think it's a fatuous mistake to try to push and force a trip cap. You need to let the opposing team try to make some sort of push out, try to force their action over towards basement / nest, and you can punish them for one of those mistakes and then counter with a trip cap, something along those lines. But to try to force a trip cap without already having the prior positioning or the kills to back it up, I think is a massive mistake.
Really, you only want to force when it's completely unexpected. Not just force a stronghold, but just force anything in general in Halo. When you feel like you're going to just completely catch the other team off guard, it's just such a fast move that they're not necessarily expecting it. So, you know, at the same time, I can see where teams can feel like they have the opportunities in front of them and they want to go and push it, but yet still can't execute it the right way. And I think that's the thing too, is the thought process could be there. It could, you know, the feeling could be there. But at the same time, you got to go and you got to get the kills and you got to make sure that everyone else is filtering in the right way after that. Moose did a nice kill right there onto Baby J. It looks like we have a temporary triple cap. It looks like, yeah, Str8 Rippin going to be taking BR base. So it is going to be basement and nest both traded for only BR base. Big advantage over to Era in that situation. You had camouflage in the hands of Str8 Rippin. You had weapons in the hands of Str8 Rippin. You had strongholds in the hands of Str8 Rippin. But yeah, Era somehow coming out on top.
Luckily, though, Str8 Rippin actually stopped the bleeding immediately this time. I think one thing we saw problems in the past, where I believe it was Empire Strongholds earlier against Check 6, I think, where we saw Str8 Rippin got to a great start, and then Check 6 got this trip cap, and Str8 Rippin never stopped the bleeding. So, like, right now, even though we do have, we were having points on the board for Era, it was good for Str8 Rippin just to, like, stop that immediately and not let it get out of control.
Wow, commonly playing so annoying right there, leaving Kratos away towards the BR base, having to fend for himself, and commonly even coming around with the cleanup throughout all of that. Great grenade from Neptune. That's going to buy himself some time so Denoxide doesn't push on over towards the nest. Big kill coming in. Can Commonly find it? No. Commonly not able to capture the BR base, which means more points there coming in from Era. And then Denoxide very close to capturing this one as well, but able to get it there. So 2 big turn of events, one for Era, one for Str8 Rippin. And if both went on over to Str8 Rippin, they would have been forcing this triple cap right now. But instead, points on the board for Era. and control of the map right now. Neptune with the railgun, and I'm glad we're on his point of view because this is a situation where it's kind of lying on his shoulders. The decisions that he's making and also the shots that he's going to be hitting or missing is really going to say how much time Era puts on the clock here in the next minute or two.
Yeah, and once again, Str8 Rippin finally stopping that bleeding. I want to say finally. They got it really quickly, but Neptune not living up to the expectations put on his shoulders right there since he had those the railgun and kind of control right there. And now Ace kind of turned the tides, getting triple kill, getting control of basement, and now Str8 Rippin back in the driver's seat.
So here's an opportunity to go and push that, but pushing it right through the open, not the best decision, especially when you have the power weapon right there. Baby J, he has the railgun too. He finds two when he's getting shot in the back. No shields. Somehow finding the double kill. Denoxide going to get a kill on the straight stick. Kratos, he's going to drop Baby J. Good team shot there working with Musa to take him down over towards that overpass area. Musa now looking for the back smack. Not able to find it. There should be an easy kill, and it is on the Denoxide. Denoxide did get that perfect kill onto Kratos, but it looks like a trade is going to happen. Str8 going to be going for another stronghold. His basement is going to be captured there for Era. Are they pushing on over towards the BR? They are. That's where the spawns are going to be. So now the big focus is going to be on over towards the nest side. You see one player down towards bottom nest for Str8, another player over towards the top for Era, but kills going left and right in favor of Str8. A lot of those because of the weapons.
Yeah, Baby J just doing a good job getting control of that scatter shot. He was eventually taken down, but damage was done. One small little tidbit I saw from Musa right there, like a small little detail when he was getting that kill near the gap by Camo side, was as he's finishing off that player with his pistol, he was just running backwards the entire time towards that stronghold. Something you'll see different players do at higher levels of play when it comes to objective games especially is they'll sometimes sacrifice their strafe and just literally beeline it for an objective as they're fighting a fight. And so right there was kind of like that great optimization from like Musa. Like, it's not going to make or break this game difference. Like, he got in that stronghold probably 1 to 2 seconds faster than he normally would have had he just sat there and strafed, but it is one of the smaller details that does separate some of these top pros from amateurs.
No doubt about it. Str8 Rippin has to stop the bleeding here, and they have to stop it fast. They're going to be in BR base. They're going to be in Nest as well. They're going to try to turn this triple cap into a double cap of their own, and they do. So good execution there, going on over towards Nest and going on over towards BR. But Camouflage, not sure what happened to it. It should be on the map here any second. Big fight happening on over towards the Whitehall. Ace not able to locate the player over towards his left. He had two. One towards top tower, another one over here. Over towards the Nest Bridge, Denoxide finds one, Baby J finds another. There's the rotation on over towards BR, and that's one of these weird rotations that we were talking about, Dave. This is something they don't need. They don't need to go over there. They don't need to force that BR base. They need to be focused on getting Nest right now. And now they give the numbers on over to Str8 Rippin, and there's no way that they get the Nest here with just one guy alive.
Yeah, and I don't think there was any way for Str8 Rippin to even stop Era if they went straight for Nest there. They had people in bad positions. They were over a top engine. They were actually in BR base, and they challenged them on ground that they could actually challenge on instead of taking the free Nest. And because of it, Str8 now has a trip cap, or a temporary trip cap, as Era regains control of BR base.
All right, Baby J doesn't realize a player spawns over towards the carbine. That could be huge. Denoxide finds a kill onto Kratos. Do they spot this player out? Denoxide finding a double kill, but the guy on the player outlines that you saw towards the back wall is the big player on the map right now. Musa finds one kill. A couple players located into the basement. Nice shots coming in from the members of Str8 Rippin, but they haven't got in and cleared it out quite yet, and I don't think they're going to be able to. Era, miraculously, with that very, very fortunate spawn, we'll call it, ends up getting basement.
Yeah, another part about that too was Baby J made the correct decision. He could have easily pushed over into BR base, probably solo capped that, continued blocking the spawns in bunker side, and gave up basement. But instead, he pushes back to his teammate, fights a 2-on-2 situation, just comes out ahead, or comes out behind, I should say. They had the superior position. They had someone on back catwalk. He was on top of the camo drop, and they just weren't able to win that fight. And those are tough to take, because I mean, it was essentially a 2-on-2 that they lost in superior positioning.
Kratos has to do some damage, and he does here with the scatter shot. Str8 Rippin now getting desperate on over towards the basement. While this is happening, Neptune, not sure what Neptune's plan was. Kind of dropping the ball here in terms of figuring out what he wants to do, and wow, he just gets ripped apart. Can't believe that right there. Caught in no man's land, trying to figure out exactly what the plan was. And
that last second sprint where you just know it wasn't going to be successful. Like, we were watching it. We were, you know, hoping the best for it, but end of the day, we just knew that was not gonna happen.
Not going to happen. It doesn't look like Era's going to be in position to go and capture that stronghold in time. Str8 Rippin, 3-0 to start this series. One more away from getting the reset. very, very impressive game from them overall, but a little hurt by the decision making towards the tail end of the game there for Era.
Yeah, I mean, that was a little rough. Like you said before, is it mainly came down to some of those BR-based pushes. Despite Str8 Rippin actually a heavily outslain, it was still an incredibly close game. So there has to be something special to kind of Era strategy. It's easy for us to harp on and point out the mistakes when they push some of those BR bases. But at the same time, too, if you ask me about what is the strategy if you get outslayed by 15 to 20 kills, how are you going to win a rig game or only lose it by 12 points, and that's a tough question to answer, but Era clearly knows something that I do not.
Yeah, the fact that they were able to hang in there, still pretty solid from them, but now down 3-0 in this series, most likely on the verge of going into a bracket reset here. What do you do if you're Era to kind of regroup and regain that confidence?
I mean, you always got to take it game by game. You have to figure out the root cause of your problems because it's not just you can't just look at something like rig strongholds and be like, oh man, we just need to not push BR base as much, or we need to sit on back catwalk. Like pinpointing one small thing on a specific map or game type is something you do after this tournament is over. You need to now focus on, all right, what are you doing systemically that is incorrect? Are you challenging too much as a whole as your team? Are people not staying alive? Is your communication just lackluster? Are you yelling out too much, yelling out not enough? You need to figure out what it is that gets your team in that groove and gets you in your comfort zone. Like you said before, you would just sometimes joke and say like pull your head out.
No, that wasn't a joke.
So but either way, that was kind of like your reset, where it's like, all right, like we now know what we're gonna do after we kind of make the statement. Like we're gonna be, you play either more selfish, you either play more as a team. Like you have to find what it is that's falling apart for your team as a whole, and then that's not just game mode or game type specific. That's across all the games.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to recognize that while it's happening. Sometimes you have to go back and either look at the film or look at maybe the rebroadcast of the actual stream to see maybe it was something that another team was doing, or even go back and, if you're streaming, watch the communication that was happening. Because like you said, maybe sometimes you're a little too hectic or not hectic enough or not decisive enough or clear enough on the callouts. Again, we saw some callouts kind of being unresponded to from Era, and that was on Regret Slayer, where the player was pushing up towards P2, completely oblivious that a guy that just got finished getting shot was shooting him in the back. So whether that call out never happened or whether it just wasn't received or understood well enough, sometimes you'll be at one side and think like that's the other base or something like that. So you could be looking too far into it, but at this high level, you expect to see the fastest of responses.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, Era's got to be in a situation right now where prior to this game, they have to say something along the lines of like, all right, we need to slow the game down more, speed it up more, or just improve our small talk. Instead of just calling out one-shots everywhere and calling out where someone's weak, say when you're with somebody, say what you're doing, and get on that same sort of same page. But Musa, off to a great start, has this camo. They got 3 members of Str8 Rippin down. Era are coming out swinging.
This is what you got to do. You got to get some momentum, but you have to get this flag cap. It would be devastating to get this railgun, or not to get this railgun, excuse me. Baby J has the railgun. I thought they did have that because typically the team that gets camo will find the railgun too. But now that they did get this out of Baby J's hands, find that, locate it, but mainly make use of this camouflage. And that's what Musa's #1 job is right now. It's all riding on the decisions that he's making, but by throwing that grenade, he gave up his positioning, and now they're going to get punished for that. Denoxide just ripping off the shields.
Yeah, you could tell that there's 2 members of Str8 Rippin there that were not going to move out of that base until they knew where Camo was at or Camo was dead, and they just held their ground. So for a while, it looked like it was going to work out great for Era, but instead, those players that just sat in their own base and got kind of confined there, they were able to pick off a couple kills. And so in most cases, when you have players just sitting back at their own base, you should be able to punish that by getting better positioning and then eventually doing a better collapse, but that did not happen for Era. And we see the first cap going in for Str8 Rippin.
A minute and 15 seconds into this one, Str8 Rippin already with the lead. You can see 3-0 at the top. That's the series score. Keep in mind, they have to bracket reset, so they have to win 1 more game and then win 4 more after that, and then they can be called your Legendary Cup #4 champions. But Era trying to do whatever they can to stop that from happening right now. Denoxide laying down the shots. He's got help from Baby J, a little body disrespect coming in onto Musa, and it seemed to be working for Str8 last week. They seem to be getting that momentum, carrying that over, and a little teabag action never hurt anybody.
No, absolutely not. I mean, these players, they're fierce competitors, and you got to do whatever it takes to get in your mind in someone else's head. End of the day, like, when you win a great fight, or you might have these sort of different rivalries within the game. Like, these players are keeping it still within the game, and I respect that.
No doubt about it. So let's see what happens with this camouflage on the map right now. Str8, he's got a railgun, and the flag is being pulled. I really like to see this run coming out because it was an unexpected run. And this is what we've seen a lot of times in Fathom CTF is a team has to get all 4 dead, or they have to have a very clean-cut way of, all right, guys, now's the time to run the flag. Sometimes you just get in there and run the flag when people don't expect it, and then you have someone like Str8 picking up those slays at the right place at the right time, and you never know what can necessarily happen.
Yeah, and Comley's in a tough situation right now as he watches that flag go in. Still putting on pressure by Str8. Commonly buying so much time and gets the melee off on Kratos. So
yeah.
doing about everything he could.
That cap was all Str8 with the railgun right there. I mean, I don't know how many kills he picked up throughout all of that, but also this flag is being ran. So while Str8 Rippin, it was, you know, a nice effort throughout all of that. Sometimes you overextend towards getting that return and end up getting countered on right there, and that's kind of what happened. But Str8 Rippin ends up getting that return for themselves, and now on the verge of adding some pressure to be offensive towards that Era side of the base. But looks like Era going to meet that one, and now throughout all of these games, it's I guess the first time since we've seen since game number 2 where Era was kind of meeting the force that Str8 Rippin was putting to the table here.
Yeah, one thing else I just noticed right there from Conley, I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but just banking that grenade off that top rail on the top catwalk area so that it kind of blows up in an unexpected spot when someone's on the ramp in the treehouse. So if people are interested, go back and watch that around like the 8:45 mark or 8:50 mark on Fathom CTF here, and when you watch this rebroadcast, because that was a great grenade that I could see catching people off guard.
Nice shots right there from Ace, dropping Str8 for the double kill. 1-1 still here is the score. 3-0 is the series score. Musa finding a kill onto the Oxide. Perfect shots there. And Kratos, this is what we talked about so many times, Dave, where if Kratos is shooting well, then it's scary because he's usually in a position to do some good for his team. And by that, I mean he's putting himself in some pretty risky positions to go and either distract or run the flag. And it worked out for him right there. He won his 1v1s. Yeah, he had some help coming in, and it was straight up and overextending to go and try to get this flag standoff opportunity, but still, Kratos extremely crispy in the way that he's been able to play this one. Str8 with another railgun, Denoxide dropping Kratos right there, but look at the advantages. Camouflage in the hands of Musa, Str8 here with the railgun, numbers advantage going on over to their favor, the return happening any second. Musa goes for the flag touch instead of going for the return, but ends up working out for them either way. Looks like Kratos is going to be the one to hop onto that one overall, and 2-1 is the score now. So Sounds of Life coming in for Aaron.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, there's a couple really good plays in those situations. One point I wanted to touch on before I get to those plays, though, was you brought up how it's Kratos having crispy shots and how that is absolutely crucial in some of those situations that he puts himself in. I would say the likes of him and someone like Conley, where they're super aggressive, you usually are in some pretty crazy fights where it's not just like the typical mid-range 5-shot each other sort of thing. It's like two people sprinting around the corner and getting these close-range battles, and having a lot of comfort in those and knowing that you can win those 1v1s is absolutely crucial to that kind of role, because when you're a disruptor, when you're pushing in the front lines, sure, you're going to get some sort of help. You're going to be kind of used as bait, but there's going to be sometimes you put yourself in a do-or-die situation. You just have to straight up win that fight.
Yeah, and sometimes when you put yourself in that situation and you don't win it, you end up being, you know, kind of the easiest kill out of the whole bunch.
You give up like a free kill, and it's like a 3-on-4 situation then. Yeah. It's like you kind of left your teammates out to dry completely.
Because that means that the guy that you did end up taking down fairly weak, his shields is going to recharge, and eventually he's going to join the ranks of the squad. But let's see what Ace is going to be able to do. We haven't really seen much Ace point of view throughout the Legendary Cup number 4. A lot of it in the previous Legendary Cups, but now let's see what he has in store for us as he's making his way on over towards the Era base. And you can see what's going on right now, where Era is starting to push on over towards the Str8 base, Str8 pushing on over towards the Era base, and we've seen this happen numerous times, but not in the favor of Str8 Rippin. Definitely working in the favor of Era, but they need to clear out Ace at this base. I'm shocked to see that he's even gotten this far, has been able to lay down so much damage, but Kratos landing that crispy shot again, very clutch. Oh, flag touch is just a moment away. They grab it. Era's still in this one. I think they're going to be able to get the return as well. Should be able to put this flag capture in unless Str8 Rippin completely blows this one here. There's the return. Flag guy most likely has it at the base, and he does. It goes in 3-1. Era still pushing this one.
Yeah, I mean, you never expect a team just to kind of lie down and give up that first series, even though they're down like 3-0 when a bracket reset's available there. But at the same time, too, it's pretty uncommon for a squad to somehow turn that around, especially when you're down 3-0, because it's so hard. And the back of every member of Era's head right now at this point is like, sure, we can do this, but we might be going to a bracket reset. Whereas if they can string together a couple more games, when you get to game number 6 or so, that's when the pressure really starts to apply to Str8 Rippin. Str8 Rippin's still feeling good right now. They just realized they got a few games to try to close it out. No pressure. They don't need to panic or change anything up yet, but they drop another game or two, and that gets real scary real quick.
No doubt about it. Plaza Slayer, game number 5 here in this best-of-7 series. Str8 Rippin currently up 3-1. Empire Strongholds, you can see it on your screen. That follows Plaza Slayer. If it continues to push towards that, it'll be Eden Slayer as game number 7. Era just needs to try to finish this series out. 3 more games in a row, and they could be Legendary Cup number 4 champions. Str8 Rippin, table set potentially for this bracket reset by winning 1 more game. I think they're going to be able to do it. I'm hoping that this one gets pushed all the way to game number 7 in the final series here, but I don't think that unless that Era plays how they played in the previous game, I'm going to need to see a little bit more out of them. I'm going to need to see maybe a game number 2 win, and then maybe if Str8 wins like Empire Strongholds, they'll say, all right, Era, you guys are going to be looking good going into that bracket reset, but we're going to have to see a little bit more fight. I think one game's not going to be enough. I think that's kind of what they're going for, too, is they didn't want to lose that one and go and lose that series 4-0, like you said, and just lay down and make it easy for these guys, because if you go and you lose 4 in a row right there, let's just say that doesn't happen.
Yeah, what changed between game 4 and game 5 at that point? Like, you need to prove to yourself and the opposing squad that you guys can switch it up, that you can take a game, and this is going to be a real fight. You know, it's as much as your team getting confidence as taking confidence away from the opposing squad.
Exactly. All right, guys, Plaza Slayer here getting started very shortly, just waiting for these players to change colors here. And then once we do, we will be getting this one underway. I'm seeing some, pretty solid plays from Kratos. Again, he was the guy that I was looking for here. I'm looking for some more big plays out of him, but Str8 definitely stepped it up there with the weapons. I'm not sure how many power weapon kills that he had, but huge staple in terms of getting their first and second flag captures. Not sure what happened with that third and final one, but definitely huge throughout all of that. 6 power weapon kills for Str8. Everybody else on the entire map, Dave, 2 combined. So Neptune with 1, Baby J with 1 as well. So Str8 doing a great job controlling that railgun.
Yeah, I need to get on his POV a bit more, because that game, like you just saw throughout the kill feed, especially the time when they got that flag cap, it was the Str8 show. Because also with the stats, I believe he went +5. It just showed there, but it's not like he was the +5 sitting back at his own base or just sitting top middle getting kills. Like, he had 2 of those flagpoles. I believe at least one of those translated into captures, but whole point being is he's going to allow those kills in tough situations as he is like pushing in over at the Str8 Rippin base.
All right, guys, getting this one underway. Plaza Slayer, game number 5 in this best-of-7 series. Overshield, you see it sitting top center. Sniper rifle, big part of contention here. Haven't really seen Plaza Slayer, I don't think, today either.
No, we've seen Plaza Strongholds, but not Plaza Slayer yet.
So it's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out. I got my money here on Era pushing this one for 1 more game, and then I got Str8 taking Empire Strongholds. So I got Str8 taking the series 4-2, and then when it happens to go into the bracket reset, I'm going to wait till I get more information to make my prediction.
I've been incorrect in pretty much every prediction, so let's just say Str8's going to close it out right now. I don't know, man. I'm wrong every single time.
Yeah,
today.
You just at least throw it out there, I mean, what's the worst, that can happen? You're just going to be wrong every single time. It's really
I want Halo Data Hive to put some stats on how bad our predictions are sometimes. And
That's true.
They're like, oh, she is correct maybe 1 out of 13 times.
It's like your predictions accuracy. It's never is going to reach over 50%, Dave. I'm sorry. It's just not in the cards for you. But
not today, at least. All the other times, though, there's been tournaments where I predicted, 1st through 8th perfectly and stuff like that. So I've done decent predictions before, but today is not my day. Today is the birthday boy's day.
Yeah, okay. All right, 3-2 here. Str8 Rippin with a small lead. I'm going to try to build on this one just a little bit more. I like the way that Ace is playing this one, just waiting for some more help to come in from behind. But, ooh, 2 players, no shields in front of him, takes out 1. That's not the player that he's expecting to kill. Commonly going to come in there with the cleanup, and it was that player because he gets the EMP assist. 2 more players over towards his left, one inside of glass. It looks like that is the sniper rifle guy. It's going to be Neptune, another player over towards top gold. So Ace kind of stuck in here, and it's kind of surprising to see both of these players kind of back off from that fight in a situation where I thought for sure there was going to be a challenge.
Yeah, I would assume Neptune might overstay his welcome and try to fight that, but I'm a firm believer, like, better safe than sorry. He should definitely rotate if he does not have the backup. It seemed like he was the furthest one up there on that side of the map, and at any moment someone could have collapsed in from light rifle side slash battle rifle side from yard. So as soon as your spot's getting away over there on glass, you just need to rotate and get out of there.
Neptune, let's see what he does with the sniper rifle. We saw him in the rig game, I believe it was, Dave, where we were hoping to see some big things come out. I think it was maybe with the railgun, or no?
I don't recall exactly, but
I can't
Neptune, I want to say it was something on Truth that I saw him doing very well on, but regardless right there, knowing when to use the sniper and when to use the battle rifle as he picks off commonly, that's the double-edged sword known as commonly. He can be that player who can break through a stalemate situation, create the opportunity for his teams to push out. Also, he can be that first death in the stalemate situation. So that's, like I said, one of the ups and downsides of commonly.
Trying to stay alive over there towards S4. You can see the player outlines. Neptune has a sniper rifle. Nobody down below him. A little bit paranoid that someone was coming in from behind, but you can see, again, all 4 players from Str8 Rippin on the outlines. 2 on over towards that cafe area, 1 push down towards bottom center, then Commonly, who was on over towards S4. So Neptune, he's going to have to connect on these shots. Likes to back off. Interesting strategy here. Had the shots lined up, knew where the players were, but now going to relocate, maybe try to pick them off during the rotation.
Yeah, one of the tough things about sniping is when someone does know your location as a sniper, unless they're like full out, jumping out in the open, doing some ridiculous challenge, like in most cases, those are going to be such tough shots to hit. A lot of times these players either respect the sniper so much that they don't even challenge it whatsoever, or they're just not going to give any other angle. So Neptune opting for the option of surprise rather than just holding his ground and hoping to hit any shots that might get challenged.
Nothing wrong with that, moving around, making sure that teams don't call you out, and that's something to be aware of. When you snipe and when you shoot, whenever you throw a grenade, that gives away your position. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to want to relocate there unless you're some sort of monster that just likes to stand still and be some sort of turret in certain areas. But one thing to also keep in mind is whenever you get a kill, for example, Neptune right there, he gets a kill, and now by sprinting away from that X, he is no longer on that player's death screen. So that's another thing to keep in mind is when you guys get any type of kills, always try to think about what their death screen could potentially look like and try to outsmart them on that death screen by either running away or just not being in that same position that you were currently at.
Yeah, in most cases, you can move in challenging locations as long as you aren't at one of the biggest landmarks. Like in most cases, if I'm on death screen down where Neptune was, I'm probably not going to run towards Prius because that's one of the easiest callouts for a player to do. Whereas if you start to just kind of do a loop maybe around that pillar or halfway between Dip and Prius, like those are really tough callouts to give in the heat of the moment. It's really tough to be like, oh, he's kind of in between Dip and Prius. Like that's where communications get jumbled on the opposing squad. So just kind of knowing where your best escape routes are and how to get away from that.
That's for sure. Now, one of the things that you got to look out for here is that throughout all of this, Str8 Rippin's got a small little lead, but it's not enough to be comfortable. And it's 1 kill now after that grenade. So Str8 he's going to have to try to eventually rotate on over towards the snipe side because that is going to be the key area. And he was unfortunately melted on the side of Era, but that was their one key to try to push up. He was the cover fire guy right there to try to buy time for the rest of his team to go and push out. And
how does Ace get
Str8 Rippin was looking there and melted him so fast means that nobody else took damage on the team, and then they could immediately shift the focus towards the other 3 members and do whatever they wanted. They could collapse, they could leave them there, and it seems like they wanted to collapse because Ace picked up a double and they still are chasing down kills left and right.
Yeah, and that also during that kill, it just shows that Str8 Rippin being on the exact same page as far as where they're putting their focus and prioritization. Kind of reminded me back in like Halo 2 on a map like Beaver Creek. We got really good at that one closer to like 2007, and one of our biggest focuses was never let somebody get on top of Rocket Arch or ever get on top of Snipe side. So if we had Rocket Arch, our #1 focus is kill anyone who's going up like that Snipe bridge. If we didn't have Red Base, we'd make sure to kill someone on rockets, and that was kind of our go time. We realized that player was kind of like that keystone piece to breaking that sort of setup, and I kind of got that same sort of vibe from Str8 Rippin right there, where as they were kind of pressured here in the center of the map, they're like, you know what? If we can focus that gold person down, that gives us an opportunity to push out and actually do damage to the other players.
Yeah, very similar. I mean, you can talk about it on so many different maps, but one that really comes to mind to me is kind of when setups were, in my opinion, formulated and started to be very well executed, and that's Lockout Team Slayer back in Halo 2, where you would get that guy inside of the window, get that sniper rifle towards the back BR base, and it was just so difficult to go get those guys out of there. But once you eventually killed that window guy, or once you got that guy out of the window so you could jump across from bottom center, or whatever it was, eventually started throwing grenades from the elbow all the way towards that window, whatever it could be, to give yourself that type of advantage. I don't think we've ever hit that in Halo 5 quite yet because of the fact that it's just so fast-paced, and most likely players aren't going to be sitting in that type of spot and locking it down like that. But it's definitely a big key to victory, being able to manipulate the map like that. So we'll see what happens. 34-30 here. Str8 Rippin with the lead, but now it seems like map positioning kind of flipped a little bit, even though they own more of the real estate. In my opinion, controlling this nest and posters area fairly important.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get an idea of what's up with Sniper right now, because a new Sniper came up at the 6-minute mark. Did that ammo already burn out that quick? Like, we're talking less than 1 minute. So that's really surprising me right now, is that I don't see Sniper in anyone's hands. And I didn't hear a bunch of sniper shots across the map. It's not like someone jumped it off here on Plaza, or I didn't hear 12 shots across the map. So somehow a sniper got lost between these two top teams in Legendary Cup #4, and that's pretty hard to believe.
I know that Ace was looking for a snipe that eventually disappeared, or he just couldn't find down towards where the BR spawned, over towards like that tram area, going up those tram stairs into the yard. But I'm not sure if that was the actual sniper rifle. It seemed like that was a little bit longer than that, but we'll see. 4 minutes left here. Very slow-paced game here in Plaza Slayer, but things are really starting to heat up now as here comes a push. Str8 Rippin trapped inside of this yard area in the light rifle loop area. So Kratos going on over towards with his teammate into the yard area, going to make his way over towards top gold. Baby J finds a kill on a Moose, so they're trapped on over towards the hotel. Wow, great team shot coming in from the players over towards the dip. That looks like it was the Noxide and Ace.
Yeah, that's the second time we've seen members of Str8 Rippin just absolutely melt a player over on top gold. Great team shots there from Str8 Rippin, but that was also a little surprising too from Kratos, not collapsing on glass really quickly. Seemed like he felt like it was too long of a wait before he actually made his push, so he decided to try to go for the spawn kills, or try to find where the spawners are at. He luckily found one over the hotel, but obviously was not able to execute and got melted real quick. So new sniper just coming up in 10 seconds. We're going to see if Str8 Sick and the Era squad can get this, or Str8 Rippin are going to make some sort of push. Right now, it looks like it's going to be an Era sniper.
Yeah, Str8 Rippin, they're really slowing this down. They're really turtling and trying to methodically play this one. I'm not sure if it's going to work out, because while all this is happening, the rest of the map is currently being taken, and oh my goodness,
Jeez.
What a flood coming in. 3 players charging on over towards the flowers. That means Commonly is gonna, or Neptune is gonna have to rotate as Commonly finds a kill onto Kratos. Now I like this rotation from Neptune, but you can't put all of your eggs into one single basket for them to be rotating. You have to be checking multiple angles. So you have to check here, you have to check over towards your left, check over towards the flowers window. You can't just be playing as slow as he is right now, expecting teammates to be watching all of these different spots.
Yeah, and at the same time, too, when you saw those few people sprint towards Cafe, you kind of have an idea of like, all right, they're doing obviously 3 people pushing this way, and they're probably going to have one more cross map fire from somewhere else, probably like top gold or light rifle or something like that. So I'm not sure if Neptune wasn't looking for that last person, or why Era didn't do a better collapse when they knew where they had the better positioning. They knew where 3 people were at. So that was just kind of a blunder, I think, from Era's side. So Str8 Rippin are going to be able to get the lead so far. 3-kill lead and sniper in the hands of Baby J.
What just happened? It was so weird to see Era leave that position. I was so confused. They had Str8 Rippin trapped. They had the positioning. It was tied up. Just wait for the next overshield to pop up. Keep the sniper over towards S4, posters, top nest, whatever it is, as Baby J misses onto that snipe. And these snipes are extremely important to connect on. Neptune with the grenade across the map. Bad challenge there from Baby J. Overshield going on over to Era. You can see him currently getting melted up from all different angles, but that's not going to be enough damage. 47-47, Str8 Rippin. Looked like Era was going to throw this one away, but now it's 48-48. Str8 Rippin on the verge of defeat here. Not sure what's going to happen, because when you look at the map right now, you have Neptune with the sniper rifle, straight sick with the overshield. You would assume that all of the advantages would go on over to Era, but every time a team has an advantage, they are just throwing away here in Plaza. Wow, they did it again!
There, they had Sniper, they had OS, and somehow, that's like the second time we saw Kratos kind of be that first death as their team had superior positioning, superior weapons. So, like we said, kind of Kratos and Commonly kind of fall in that same sort of category as what their role is on the team. Is a lot of times it's kind of that disruptor. It's the initial person to break those setups. But when your team has the advantage, when you have the weapons, you shouldn't be pushing out. You shouldn't be forcing action. Let mistakes happen. Let your player with the sniper rifle pick off something. You don't need to create action every single moment of the time. Even if that's your tendency and you're good at it, you still need to let your other teammates and have trust in your other teammates to do that.
All right, guys, we are going into a bracket reset strip, and they win that first series 4-1. That means we are going to be seeing another best of 7 following this right after that, and it's so crazy to see how that game unfolded towards the very end.
Assists from Str8 Rippin too.
I
forgot to add up.
That's 51 assists.
More than, yeah. Let's see. We got 50.
28 plus 23. It looks like
51 assists.
So yeah, just phenomenal teamwork coming out. It's really weird to see how a team can get 51 assists and win a game 50-48, but yet the other team combines for what? Still a decent amount of assists.
Yeah, 37 assists.
37 assists. So a lot more individual battles being won on the side of Era, but both teams, I mean, they had huge missed opportunities at certain times, especially Era at the end of that game. There's no reason in a 48-48 game that I'm not sure who died on over towards the yard, but if I'm the sniper rifle guy, I'm raging at this point. You don't allow me to snipe towards the tail end of the game in a very clutch situation where we can go and push this to a game number 6 and, you know, almost try to bring this back with the crazy reverse sweep. Huge missed opportunity there for Era.
Yeah, so they cannot be feeling too great going to the second best of 7, knowing that they clearly have some issues going on with their squad. The times that they should be able to close out games when they have the lead, they're clearly kind of giving up some of those leads or giving up those advantages. So they have to get that fixed, and they better do it soon because we're going to a second best of 7, Tom.
All right, guys, we are going to a best of 7 right after this break, guys.